Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. It's Thursday, October 29th, and we are going to do some really fun Joy cards. These are cards that I found in Design Space that I restructured to work on the Joy, and I want to show you how I did that and how they cut out and all my little techniques today on Cricut Chat. So I hope you all are well and doing well. I hope I can get some people on to look at this because in addition, I put the title as for the Joy, but these actually came from regular Design Space and I repurposed them. So if you have a maker or you have an Explorer or you have both a Joy and another machine, this all four of these cards can be done on all the machines, but these ones specifically I have formulated or changed up to work on the Joy, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit more today. So welcome. And these are the cards. Good morning to everyone. Hi, Emmy. Nice to see you. And these are the cards. There's four of them. This one says Turkey Day with this rather elaborate turkey. This one says Give Thanks. This one says Gobble Till You Wobble. And this is also another Give Thanks. And what's fun about these is that I ended up using some patterned paper from a pack of patterned paper that I got from Michael's that coordinates. This is the solids called Pumpkin Spice, and this is the kind that are, what do you call this? Not solid, patterned. This is the pattern pad that kind of coordinates, called Fall Tapestry. I think it was also called Pumpkin Spice at one time. It was kind of a rework of what they had last year. So I wanted to include some of this really great fall, as I have a lot of great fall stuff in my collection, in addition to Halloween, but I just kind of wanted to include it a little bit before I retire it for the year. So these paper pads I usually buy at Michael's when they're on sale. They normally are priced at $20, but when they have them on sale, they often will have like a buy one, get two free, or sometimes it's even more than that. And they're usually 48 sheets of paper, and they are big, so you will need to cut them down. And I'm going to show you quickly how to cut down this paper. Oh, hi, Ashley. Oh, thank you, honey. I so appreciate you for watching. Thank you. So this is solid paper. This is patterned, and it's 12 by 12. And you'll find when you're looking for paper, if you're new to paper crafting, you'll find that paper comes in two sizes generally. I mean, there are other little sizes that come in pads and whatnot, but most of the time they'll come in 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11. I use 8.5 by 11 a lot simply because it's easy to get. I get it at Michael's, and they sell it in packs of different coordinating colors. And so an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper works really well for this size card because, good morning, Francis. Excuse me. Works really well for this size of card because if you take an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, you can cut it in half, and it creates two what's called A2 size cards. That's what this size card is. And if you are used to your Joy and maybe you have your insert cards and you see inside, my dog chewed this. I think it was Teddy Bear that chewed this one. Okay, so inside this here, this is called an A A2 size, okay? So what that means, A2 means, is it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Or if you open it up like this, it's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. Now think of that in terms of 2, excuse me. And this is actually an 8 1/2 by 11-inch sheet of paper that's cut in half and folded. So you can create your own insert cards if that's something you'd like to do. Maybe you have a special color in mind, or you want to use, say, these fall patterns or Christmas patterns or what have you. Or you can use insert cards because they're all inclusive. You know, you'll get the card and you also get the inserts plus the envelopes, okay? Generally speaking, I don't do envelopes. If you're new with me, and I apologize for the coughing, I think it's allergies, but I generally don't do envelopes. I just buy them in packs. So I don't really deal with envelopes, but if you guys want some envelope training, I'm happy to provide it. But so this is about using 12 by 12 inch sheets of paper on a Cricut Joy mat. Most of the Joy mats there are 2 different sizes. This one's a 12-inch, here we go. This is 12 inches long, and it's 4 1/4. It's really 4 1/2, right? So what I will do is I will cut these pieces, the 12 by 12, into strips like this so that they fit on my card. And it's perfect because it's 12 inches one way. Then for the base, when I want to use, whether I want to use solids or whether I want to use, hi Penny, nice to see you. If you want to use solids or if you want to use patterned, you can take a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and you can cut it down basically into 8 1/2 by 11, and then you can fold them. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. So I have here a 12 by 12 inch sheet of solid and a 12 by 12 inch patterned. Let's say we're going to use the patterned for the base of the card, the folded part of the card. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to turn this 12 by 12 inch sheet of paper. I'm going to go up a little bit, sorry. We're going to want to turn the 12 by 12 inch sheet of paper into 8 1/2 by 11 so that we can then cut 2 of them, and we'll have 2 card bases plus a little left over for scrapping. I always keep my scraps, so don't worry about that I'm throwing things away, because I don't. So here is what's called a personal trimmer. I love this little gadget. I don't know if you guys have one, but the great thing, this one's by Cricut. They do make it in other brands, but the thing I like most about the Cricut one, in addition to this extendable arm, is that there's a place to put your extra blades, including your scoring blade here in the back, and they just kind of pop in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this one out. Oof, might have to. They just kind of pop in here, and they're pretty secure, even if you drop it, which I have dropped it many times. Okay, so the way that it goes in is sort of right to left, and what we're going to be doing is we put it in, we're going to be looking at this extended arm, and we're going to cut this paper down to 8 1/2 by 11 inch size. So we are going to look at the ruler from here to here and position our paper for the first cut, which is at 11 inches. It's only going to cut off an inch on this side, but here we go. So here's my inch strip that I'm going to save, but that I don't need for this project, okay? Now I'm going to turn the paper 1 degree, 1 rotation, and then I am going to line it up on the 8 1/2 by 11 inch mark, which is right here. Just gotta get my head in there to make sure I have it there. Okay, 8.5 by 11, and you just do this with the paper, and there is your extra piece. Save that for another time. So now what we have is a perfect sized 8.5 by 11 inch sheet, and what we're going to do is turn it into the folded part of the card. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into two pieces. So this, look at this as an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper. And what we're going to do is cut it in half on the long way right here. So the long way, half of 11 is 5.5. So that's what I'm going to line up to, is 5.5. And then when I do that, I should have two exact pieces, same size pieces of card. You see that? And this is patterned on one side, white on the other, which is perfect for a card. And this will be the inside of a card. This will be the outside of a card. And then the only thing left to do is to score it. And you can do that by just folding it in half. Or you can use the scoring feature on your personal trimmer. It's up to you what you want to do. So there is how to turn a 12 by 12 sheet of patterned paper into two folded cards, with a little extra for future projects. Okay, so this is the folded part of the card, and we want to talk about how we do this part of the card, the one that's going to go on the 12-inch board or the 12-inch mat, so that we can cut out the fronts of the card. And you'll see here, that's what I've done here, and I want to just show you. I'll peel this off so you can see. I like the 12-inch because I can usually cut two card faces on one mat. And I really should be taking it off this way because there's a lot of very special cuts here, and I don't want to rip it. So here we go. So this is the give thanks, and I cut it from my solid paper, and I put two on the mat. So let me show you what I do with the solid paper. So this is the solid that I'm going to make for the top of the card. Like, let me see if I got an example here. Okay, so there's the solid piece that I'm going to cut out. Now you can switch this up. You can cut out the tops in patterns or solids. You can choose all solids, all patterns. It's totally up to you. And that's what's so wonderful about crafting with a Cricut, is that you can be so creative, and the machine really does help you to be as creative as you possibly can be. So let's cut up some strips for our mats. Now our mats, as I mentioned, they're 4.5 inches wide, and these ones are 12 inches long. So that's why I like using the 12 by 12 sheets of paper, although you can use 8.5 by 11 to do this. I like the 12 by 12 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my solid sheet, and I'm going to lay it so that it is on the 4.5 inch mark. And I'm going to get two strips out of this 4.5. Okay, so this will completely cover the mat, just like this. And by the way, if you are using mats and you are finding that the stick has gone a little bit from that mat, I would suggest that you try to wash them with hot soapy water and a scrubby sponge. I have one that's like blue with the scrub part on the other side. I use actually the liquid detergent right on there, wet the sponge, and just sort of scrub it off. But even still, and let it drip dry, and the stick will come back. But if even after doing that you have some problems with the stick, there is a product called a Zip 2-way glue. that does a great job of resticking. It's a repositionable glue, and it does a great job. I'm going to find a link so I can link it to my bio so you guys can know about or you can see how that goes. So anyway, here is our strips. They go perfectly on the cards, okay? Oh, I don't know about that, Alexis. But resticking them is entirely possible, and I found that out when the Joy came. It was announced, but it hadn't come out to the general public, and I had to restick my mat so I could show everybody how they worked. So let's talk about the design. So we talked about the paper, including this these patterned paper. We talked about the mats. We talked about the solids. Let's talk about the designs. So I'm using my iPad. As you know, I like to use it with my Joy because it's very easy for me, but you do not need to use your Joy. You can use your laptop or your desktop or even your phone to work with your Joy. So this is just for convenience sake. Now, these are the 4 images, and I'm going to show you where to find them. And then how to resize them. Annette is asking about resticking the card mat. Unfortunately, Annette, I did not have as much luck with the card mat resticking, and I think that that's why they reduced the price for the card mat to like $5.99 because it's a special material in the front of the card mat. Okay. Yes, you absolutely, Diana. I'm sorry for not mentioning it. So if you want to use the card mat, okay, and you want to use whatever, this here for your card mat, you would just cut everything the way that I showed you and then slip it into the card mat. And this part would go on the front of the mat, and this is the inside part underneath where it wouldn't cut, okay? And then if you wanted to take it one step further, is you can turn it inside out and put a sentiment on the inside of your card too. So there's a lot to be said for learning how to use the card mat with your own cardstock. And if you're in a hurry, you don't want to learn all this stuff, remember too that there's always the insert card packs, and they come in a lot of different colors and fun things as well, including like holographic and foil and stuff like that, which you can also use and make your own. Okay, so let's talk about the images. So these images actually came from 2 different image sets, and I'm going to show you which of the 2. But they of these 4, these 2 came from the same one, Gobble Till You Wobble and Give Thanks. They came from the same image set, and then these 2 came from a different one, but together. And these ones came as just these pieces, and all I had to do was resize them. But these 2 came as full cards, and working on the Joy, you know, you can't cut out a full card because of the size, and plus because they don't do scoring in the Joy. Okay, so let me show you where to get these. I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to choose highlighted categories and image sets, my favorite place to go when I'm looking for images. And in this case, I am going to type in the word holiday. Holidays, holiday. I think it's holidays. Okay, so the first set we're going to look at is this one. It's called Simple Holiday Cards. It's awesome. This has cards for every holiday you can practically imagine, and there's just a lot of really fun things to look at. Before I get too deep into this, I do want to make mention that if you have just a Joy, It's very difficult to find these images if you only have a Joy. And that is what's happening here. So what I need to do is go back and change my machine. See, I have my machine selected at Joy. So I need to change it to my Maker or my Explorer. It doesn't really matter, but for some reason, Cricut has not yet allowed folks that have Joy to see the images that would not work on the Joy. So I haven't been able to convince them yet that everybody wants to see all the images and that they can, deal with parameters, but maybe someday that will happen. And getting a question from Carol Ann asking, is it possible to favorite an image set? At this point, no. I wish they did. I will again ask them if that's a possibility. They are very open to feedback, and I've seen quite a few changes based on some comments that you all have made. So continue to ask for those details, okay? So let's go back to images again. I've changed my machine. I'm going to highlighted categories. I'm going to image sets. And now I'm going to choose holiday again. And let's see what comes up. And I hope that this is going to work. If it's not going to work, then it is, let's see. I can give you why is it not working? This always happens to me when I do lives, and I do so apologize because it worked right before I came on, and it might just take an extra second. So there are two image sets. One is called Home for the Holidays, Fall and Winter, and the other one is called Simple Holiday Cards. And they are two great sets to see that here we go. All right, so when you type in image sets and you're typing in holiday, here are the two sets: Simple Holiday Cards and Home for the Holiday, Fall and Winter. Okay, so the Simple Holiday Cards one, I'm going to just kind of make more mention of. It's just maybe just slow. It's too cold, maybe. Okay, so here you'll see that there are just plenty of wonderful cards. We've done the Halloween ones, and we continue. I think we've done some of the Christmas ones. There's Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's, Easter, New Year's, I think, is on here. Yep. Let It Snow. So there's quite a few cards here. Definitely have a look. This one's pretty when it's done in an ombre color. Very pretty. I did that one year. Okay, so let's look for the Turkey Day one. This is the Turkey Day one. And let's also look. Oh, there's this one I hadn't seen. I'm gonna change that up too. All right, so we got the Turkey Day, and there's the Give Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to move these guys out of the way so I can show you what I'm doing. But you'll see here that the cards come in with an envelope, and anybody that has been following me for a while know that I don't do envelopes, and especially with the Joy, it just doesn't make sense. You can't do an envelope. So what I generally will do when something comes in with an envelope is I would go to Actions right here. See down here, Actions, and I would ungroup it, okay? And then I can take the envelope away. So that's my first step. And then I'll see here that there are my two pieces of the card. And so here we've got, this is the background piece and this is the card itself. But I want to change it around so that all I have, let's bring the piece that I want over here. So all I want is the front of the card, and I'm going to take care of making that folded piece of the card. So I don't need this piece. I'm going to get rid of it. Now all I have to do is get rid of the scoring and lop off this back piece, and that's easy to do as well. So what we're going to do is click on that image, and we are going to choose Detach. Okay, what that does is it takes the score line, even though it's still there, it takes the score line away from that card. Don't move it just yet because you need to know exactly the size for this. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to shapes down here, insert a shape of a square. Okay, oops. Why did I do that? Okay, so I inserted a shape of a square. I'm going to unlock it, and I am going to resize it so that, let's move this guy out of the way. Okay, I'm going to resize it so that it rests right here, just at that score line, so I know where to cut it off. You notice that the square is bigger than the card underneath it, okay? That's important because you don't want to have leftover pieces when you do the next step, which is slicing. Okay, so I have my square, I have my bottom piece, which is definitely detached, okay? And now I'm going to, using my finger, I'm going to select both of those images. I'm sorry if I'm moving this around a lot. I apologize. So I'm going to select both things, and I am going to go, wait, let me just make sure I can do this. No, hold on. I want to make sure. Okay, let me get rid of this. Oh, darn it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, sorry about that. I should have removed that slice line. I didn't do that part, so I apologize. So, okay, so now I have both things, and they have the square around them. You see that with the red X and these other ones here? Both of them are highlighted. And then in actions, just above actions, I'm going to choose slice. Okay? Now, once I've sliced, it might not look much different, but you're going to have to sort of peel things off. And now what I've done is I've isolated this image only. And I can get rid of these pieces. So now I have just my card front. Just my card front. And that is what we're doing with these images. So same thing. Let me just show you real quick again so you can say that you know how this works, okay? So we bring in an image that has an envelope, it has scoring, but we want to use it for the joy. So we first have to ungroup and remove the envelope. We don't need the envelope. And I can make this a little bit bigger. Then we touch on this and we are going to detach, okay? Now, this is the part that I got a little messed up in my explaining. We're going to go to layers, and over here on layers, these are the ones that we're talking about. So we're going to click on the score. So we highlight it there. You see that? Okay, just so you know, layers. Then we're going to insert a shape that's a square. And we're going to make it bigger and almost to that line. You see that? Now we click on this again, find our score mark, and we can delete it. All right, you with me? Then we're going to group both of these together. We're going to go to actions. Let me just, whoops, hold on. I got to make sure that where's my image? Dip, bip. My Thanksgiving card, I have to delete that. Okay, so I'm going to choose that, and then I'm going to slice. Okay, and then we start peeling away all these little slice pieces, and we just eliminate them, and now we just have the card front. So that's how you would create from these different images from that simple holiday cards. Now, if you wanted to look at the other image set that has that really pretty, where is it? Here it is. Home for the Holidays, Fall and Winter, have the Gobble Till You Wobble, which is this one. and it has this give thanks one, which I like because it reminds me of my dad, to be honest, because it reminds me of like a grapevine, and my dad had a grapevine in his yard forever. So this is what we're looking for, and we're looking for it in home for the holidays, fall and winter. Hopefully it will come up, but it's a little sluggish this morning. Okay, here we go. And so you'll see here also really a fun cartridge or image set. And you'll see that there's a lot of fall things in here, and there are a lot of winter things, including winter, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, all that stuff. So here's our gobble till you wobble. We can just choose that one. And here's the give thanks one. All right. And we'll insert those. Let's make them bigger. And all we have to do on these is just to make sure they are the right size. You have to do... Yeah, it's really slow this morning. Someone's asking a question. If you put the paper in the card mat, do you have to do something different to get it to cut? You just choose the card mat as your cut. And we're going to show you the cutting, okay? So here we just need to make this the size of that we want to cut for the card. So let's look at this really closely. To check the sizes, we're going to use the edit feature. And you'll see here that this is 2.48 in width and 3.11 in height. That's a little too small. So we're going to, and it's also unlocked. I don't know why it's unlocked, but let's go ahead and change the width. I locked it, and I'm going to change the width to 4.25, which is the maximum. Whoa. Oh, okay, because I got in close. Apologize. Okay, 4.25, right, in width, and the height is about 5.5. You can become very much a stickler and change it to exactly 5.5, but you don't want your parameters to go over that, because they won't they won't fit on your cut folded card. Okay, so it's 4.25, 5.5, or give or take, not give or take, or a little less. You know, you can be a little less if you want. Okay, so I hope I haven't lost anybody. Now, I want to show you, I'm going to get rid of this. So I want to show you how these cut out. I don't need these extra ones, but okay. So here we've got, these are our original. There's actually 5 now, because I found that Thanksgiving one. And let's say we want to cut these all out. All right. Say we're going to just go on a paper, a card cutting spree on a Sunday afternoon. We want to do all of these, and we need to send them out to everybody on our list. So here we go. We're ready to cut out. We're just cutting out the front of the cards. Remember, we're going to create our regular folded card. So we're going to hit make it. Okay. Now, oops. What happened? Now, remember I changed my machine to Maker? Well, I have to go back when I'm ready to cut and change it back to the Joy. So to do that, I need to go back to the canvas and touch on my little avatar picture of me. And I am going to change my machine selection back to the Joy. Okay, so now when I do this, this is what we get. We have a choice of how we want to cut this. Yesterday, when we were doing smart vinyl for our vertical signs, we chose without the mat because it's only for smart materials that are very, very long. But in this case, we don't think we're going to need that without the mat. We definitely don't need it because we're not using smart materials. We're using our regular paper. And then we're going to, are we going to do it on the card mat? No. And we're not going to do it multiple ways. We're going to do it on the mat. okay? And I want to just make sure it's saying, oh, this one here. So maybe I should just delete this one. Hide selected. That might cause no problems. All right, so here is my Gobble Till You Wobble. And so I want to use my 12-inch long mat. So I'm going to choose this little thing. It's supposed to be a mat up here, and it says 5 in there, meaning I have 5 mats to cut. And I am going to change the material size right here to 12-inch. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my project to 2. And what that does, let's see, is it puts 2 of them on the same mat. Let's go back here. I want to change this to 12-inch. There are my 2 on the mat. Change this one to 12-inch. Right? You see what I'm doing here? I am maximizing my space by changing the size of my mat. So now here's what I have. I'm actually going to eliminate these ones. I'm going to hide them because I didn't size them all entirely appropriately. So here is my Gobble Till You Wobble. There's 2 of them. And here's my Give Thanks, the table. There's 2. My Give Thanks that looks like, to me, looks like a grapevine. And then my Turkey Day one. So now I am ready to cut these out. So I'm going to hit continue. Now, this will bring us to the prepared, like set the material stage. Now you can, when you get here, go to all materials, and there are 3 selections here. There's all, favorites, and compatible. And so I'm going to choose compatible because I want you to see the breadth of things that you can cut with the Joy. Okay. So here are the cardstock options, but there's also iron-on, there's leather, the faux leather. Remember we did that, paper, plastic, vinyl, and even party foil and window cling. Okay. So we're going to be cutting on cardstock, and it's a medium weight cardstock, which is 80 pounds roughly. It's between 55 and 80 pounds. So that's the one we're going to choose. And you'll notice that I also have that starred, which means that that's a favorite of mine. Okay. So I'm going to choose the medium cardstock. And for this in particular, because we don't have an intricate cuts setting like we do with the Maker or we have with the Explore, you know, in custom, we have an intricate cuts for cardstock. So what I would like to do is I'm going to change the pressure to more here, and I'm going to just watch it really closely. I feel like you don't have the intricate cut setting because you don't really need it for the Joy, but I haven't really dug too deep into that theory. So the way that I got around, you know, because it's so intricate, is I added pressure to it. Okay, so here's my here is my mat. Let me just move ever so slightly. I have my mat ready. My machine's blinking, and that's how I know that I can put the mat in. My mat has my orange paper in there, and then you'll see on your iPad it's loading, making sure the mat is properly aligned. So it's getting ready to cut, but I still need to tell it to cut, so I'm going to hit go. And then it will prepare, which is what it's saying here, and then it will go. I have a sort of weird habit of making sure that the material is stuck on the and goes in okay. I don't know. It's just a strange thing. You don't have to do that, but sometimes my mats get so worn that the paper sort of lifts a little bit, and I want to make sure it doesn't start moving around, okay? So that's going to cut out, and let me just show you how to put it together. We'll just let that cut out. So here is a cutout that I did of the 2 pieces. And we're going to roll it off the mat like this. You can roll it like this, backward if you want, but always bend the mat and not the paper. And you may need to weed a few pieces out because, like I said, these are fairly intricate. So you may need to like kind of get in there and just sort of ever so slightly pick those pieces out. That's just sort of the nature of these machines. I know some people have complained about that, but to be honest, you deal with that with the bigger machines too when you have a very intricate cut. And you actually also deal with it when you have an intricate cut die that you're running through a die cut machine. Okay, so here all our pieces are cut out. All right, and then I'm going to use my glue, and I'm going to look at all of these different colors and see what works with this green color. So I kind of like this yellow with the green, and you have to be careful of matching up your patterns well, because sometimes if you use the wrong color, it really hides that pattern, and I don't care for it. So for instance, like with the turkey, which I cut out in brown, this looks really good for the turkey. And then I just kind of like with this green, I like this yellow. Okay, so we'll choose that for this. I'm going to fold my card in half. All right, so there's my folded card in half. And then I'm going to take my piece here and I am going to flip it over and put dots of glue, very little glue. Remember, we don't use a whole lot of glue when we're doing paper crafts. We just need enough for it to stick. And with these intricate cuts, we have to use less because we don't want it to spill out, to seep out into the front of the card. Okay, so just little teeny tiny dots. And this glue, if you're interested in knowing what it is, it's called Art Glitter Glue. You can buy it anywhere. I have a link through Create for Less, but my friend Dawn Walsh just started out with this one called Barely Glue. I don't know, Barely something glue. So I'm gonna see about that. I actually already ordered it to see. It comes in a little teddy bear bottle, like a honey in there. So anyway, I'm going to try that one out. But this is the glue that I like. You don't have to use this glue, but I like it because it spreads really well and it dries clear and it's easy to get into precision areas because it has a precision tip. So there we go. Now, I did notice here that my little steam coming off the turkey is not properly affixed. And so I'm going to take my glue, and this is what you do if if you're using a little tiny bit of glue, you're just going to go there and do it to the back, just a little tiny bit so that it will stay down. There we go. And there you have it, folks. There is how to do these cards start to finish on the Joy. Now remember, if you have an Explorer or a Maker, you don't have the Joy, you can make all of these cards. This was just an example of how to turn a card into a Joy card, and also how to use your own materials and make your own cards without cutting them out directly on your machine. So don't worry if you say, oh, well, Rita, can I make this on my Explorer? Can I make this on my Maker? Yes, you absolutely can. It's slightly different because with the Maker and Explorer, you would be cutting out this whole base here. Okay, and that is it. The one final thing that I would mention is if you wanted to put a sentiment on the inside of these types of cards, you could definitely do it, and you could use your card mat to do it. You would turn it inside out, and then you'd put it in your card mat, and you would put your sentiment right here. Okay, so that is a start to finish how to make really 5 unique joy cards on your Cricut Joy for Thanksgiving. And you can take this lesson and apply it to all the other holidays. It's not just exclusive to Thanksgiving. Okay, that's it for today, folks. Tomorrow, if I can get my butt out of the house, because I haven't actually been out since my treatments ended last week. I haven't been out. So if I can get my butt out, I'm going to show you tomorrow, because I have to pick up whole candy bars, and I want to show you candy bar wraps tomorrow. And if I can't get my butt out, but I think I'm committing to it just by telling you this, but if I can't get my butt out, we'll do some paper bag luminaria. Okay, so that's what we're doing tomorrow. Hope you come by. And I think that's it. That's all I have to tell you. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. Really appreciate your time. And tell your friends. And make sure, oh, by the way, one more thing. If you are having trouble finding videos that I did this week, like the even the shaker cards from Saturday night, or the candle jar, upcycle thing that we did. I'm trying to think what else we did. We did the mesh iron-on. All of those seem to have disappeared when I switched back to Facebook Classic on my Miss Rita to the Rescue page. So if you are looking for any video that was done really at all, but especially this week, definitely go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can see all of them there, okay? So thanks so much for coming today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Yes, Diane, I'm going to be committed to going out to get the chocolate wrappers, the chocolate candy, so you can see those wrappers, because they're really cute. All right, everyone. Love ya. Hope to see you soon. Bye.